We are all here tonight, and many people are sitting at home watching, because something powerful once appeared on a movie screen and captured their attention. In 2007, Star magazine published a story that Tom Cruise tried very hard to hide. They claimed that he spent $10 million building something underground at his ranch in Colorado. It wasn't a wine cellar or a place to store old furniture. They said it was a hidden bunker built for 10 people, complete with a special air filtration system. According to the magazine, the bunker was meant to protect people from alien contamination. Tom's team immediately denied the rumors, but construction workers later revealed that they had already seen unusual things under the 320-acre property. What they found there was connected to some of Tom's deepest Scientology beliefs, and the timing wasn't random. All of this happened when Tom reached one of the most secretive and dangerous levels of the church. Tom Cruise was born on July 3, 1962, in Syracuse, New York. From his earliest days, life did not feel steady or predictable. His mother, Mary Lee, worked as a special education teacher and tried her best to keep the family stable. But his father, Thomas Cruise Mapother, struggled to keep a job and carried a lot of anger inside him. Because of this, the family kept moving from place to place, and Tom ended up attending 15 schools in just 12 years. Every time he got comfortable in one place, they moved again. Every time he made one friend, he had to leave and start all over. Tom later revealed that his father was a bully and a coward, someone who smiled before hitting you. He said his father could make you feel safe for one moment and instantly turn the room into something frightening. Tom learned early that he needed to defend himself, not through strength, but by watching every step he took and preparing for whatever might happen next. Home felt like a maze filled with hidden traps, and he never knew which direction was safe. School didn't offer much comfort either. When Tom was 7 years old, teachers diagnosed him with dyslexia, but even after that, nothing improved. He was moved from school to school as his father kept changing jobs. He was always the new kid, the one who couldn't read fast enough. Kids made fun of his crooked teeth and his short height. Teachers assumed he was lazy, and Tom felt more lost with each passing year. Sometimes he memorized what the teacher read aloud and repeated the words later so no one would know that he couldn't actually read them. It became a heavy secret he carried alone. Every classroom felt like a test he didn't know how to prepare for. Then, in 1974, everything changed. Tom was 12 years old when his mother decided she couldn't take her husband's behavior any longer. She quietly told Tom and his 3 sisters to pack their bags and hide them. When the moment was right, they slipped away from Ottawa and returned to Louisville. She filed for divorce soon after. Tom's father followed them and begged her to take him back, but she refused. Tom watched his mother work multiple jobs to keep the family afloat, while he delivered newspapers to help out and massaged her feet after long shifts. Years later, in 1984, when Tom tried to reconnect with his father, the man agreed to meet only on the condition that Tom never asked about the past. His father died shortly after, still very young, and the years of trauma remained a painful memory Tom had to carry into adulthood. After the escape from his father, Tom searched for purpose. At 14, he entered St. Francis Seminary School in Cincinnati because he thought he wanted to become a priest. He had been inspired by Father Rick Schneider, a priest who visited his school in Louisville. Tom took the IQ test required for the seminary and barely passed, but he was accepted. Soon he was living a strict life filled with daily mass, prayers, and routine. His friend Shane later remembered how serious Tom was about it and how both boys felt that priests lived interesting lives. But after 1 year, Tom realized his heart wasn't fully in it. He later said he liked girls too much to give that part of life up. He left the seminary and returned to regular school, still unsure of what his future would become. School remained difficult. Tom graduated high school unable to read well. He described himself as functionally illiterate. His sister Lee helped him with schoolwork and assignments so he wouldn't fall behind. Even when he started getting film roles later, he depended on people reading scripts aloud so he could memorize lines by listening instead of reading. At 18, in 1980, Tom left Glen Ridge, New Jersey, and moved to New York City with almost no money. He gave himself 10 years to become an actor. He worked as a busboy, unloaded trucks, and went to every audition he could find. He walked into rooms filled with trained actors while all he had were instinct and determination. His first film appearance was a small role in the 1981 movie Endless Love, but it opened a door. That same year, he got a major part in Taps. The film cost $14 million to make and earned over $35 million. Directors noticed the intense 19-year-old who threw himself into his work. Still, the struggle with dyslexia followed him everywhere. On movie sets, he relied on Lee for help, or he asked directors questions so he didn't have to read anything. He memorized lines phonetically, studying them like melodies. Sometimes the effort was so exhausting that his legs ached and his head hurt, but he refused to quit. By the time he filmed Top Gun in 1986, he was still barely able to read. He won the role of Maverick over more than 200 other actors and flew in real F-14 Tomcats. He got sick in the air just like many of the cast members, but he pushed through. Top Gun cost $15 million to make and exploded into a worldwide success, earning $357 million. Navy recruiters later said interest in joining the military jumped by 500% because of the film. That same year, everything changed for Tom. He discovered Scientology's study technology, and he said it finally helped him learn how to read. He said he suddenly believed he could learn anything he wanted, and it transformed his confidence forever. Tom's career continued to grow. In The Color of Money, released in 1986, he acted alongside Paul Newman, who had been nominated for an Oscar 7 times and finally won for this film. Tom earned a Golden Globe nomination and learned discipline by watching Newman. The film made over $50 million in the United States and marked Tom's move into deeper dramatic roles. In 1988, he starred in Rain Man as Charlie Babbitt, opposite Dustin Hoffman. The film was made during the Writers Guild strike, and some scenes were written right before the strike began. Rain Man became the highest-grossing film of 1988, earning more than $350 million worldwide. It won 4 Oscars, including Best Picture. Critics said that Tom's character was the emotional center of the story, and his performance showed how far he had come from the confused boy who struggled in school. In 1989, he took on one of the hardest roles of his life in Born on the 4th of July, playing Vietnam veteran Ron Kovic. Tom spent months in a wheelchair and visited veteran hospitals to understand the role. Director Oliver Stone even suggested a drug that would temporarily paralyze him, but the insurance company refused. Tom lost weight, pushed himself emotionally, and carried memories of his own difficult past into the performance. On his 27th birthday, Kovic gave him his real Bronze Star Medal. The film cost under $18 million and earned more than $160 million worldwide. Tom received his first Oscar nomination for Best Actor. In the early 1990s, Tom entered the world of NASCAR for Days of Thunder. He trained like a real driver and worked once again with director Tony Scott. The movie made almost $160 million worldwide. On that set, Tom met Nicole Kidman, and the attraction was instant. They married on Christmas Eve in 1990. Around this time, Tom's connection to Scientology grew stronger and began influencing more of his decisions. Before Nicole, Tom had married actress Mimi Rogers in 1987. She was the person who introduced him to Scientology, which changed his life direction. Their marriage ended in 1990. Former Scientology executive Mike Rinder later claimed that leader David Miscavige pushed the divorce forward to make way for Tom's relationship with Nicole. In 1992, Tom starred in A Few Good Men with Jack Nicholson. The film earned over $240 million worldwide. The famous line "You can't handle the truth" became iconic. Despite his dyslexia, Tom memorized long pages of legal dialogue by visualizing each line in his mind. His work paid off as the film stayed #1 at the box office for weeks. In 1993, the film was released and became a major hit, earning more than $270 million worldwide. Tom again used mental imagery to understand the complex legal terms. Critics praised his performance and the tension he brought to the role. In 1994, Interview with the Vampire stirred controversy before filming even began. Author and Rice openly said Tom was wrong for the role of Lestat. But director Neil Jordan believed Tom had a hidden, shining quality that fit the character. The film earned more than $220 million worldwide. And Rice later apologized and praised Tom's performance in a full-page newspaper ad. In 1996, Mission: Impossible hit theaters and changed Tom's career forever. The film earned nearly $460 million worldwide. The success sparked a massive franchise. Tom eventually performed dangerous stunts himself, including flying helicopters in Mission: Impossible Fallout after training for 6 months. Around this time, Tom reached the OT3 level in Scientology, where he learned the story of Xenu, an alien ruler who supposedly brought billions of beings to Earth 75 million years ago. Witnesses said Tom's reaction was emotional and intense. He had already spent 8 years studying Scientology, and this secret story became a private part of his world even while his public fame kept rising. In December 1996, Jerry Maguire was released and became another major hit. Tom earned an Oscar nomination, and the film gave the world-famous lines like "You complete me" and "You had me at hello." In 2001, he starred in Vanilla Sky, which made more than $200 million worldwide. The production shut down Times Square early on a Sunday morning to film one haunting scene where Tom ran through the empty streets. Tom's marriage to Nicole Kidman had begun in 1990 and was filled with both love and challenges. Together they adopted 2 children, Isabella Jane in 1992 and Connor Anthony in 1995, forming a family that blended Hollywood glamour with the deep influence of Scientology, shaping the next chapters of Tom's life in ways no one could fully see at the time. People once believed Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman were completely solid, but everything changed in February 2001 when Cruise filed for divorce. The news froze the world for a moment. Later, former Scientology executive Mike Rinder wrote that David Miscavige had been deeply involved in shaping their relationship from the very beginning. He even visited the Days of Thunder set in Daytona while Tom and Nicole were growing close. According to Rinder, Miscavige pushed for Tom's first marriage to end so he could move forward with Nicole, because the church believed she would be a better fit. Years later, the HBO documentary Going Clear claimed that Cruise hired a private investigator to secretly wiretap Kidman's phone, though Tom's attorney denied the accusation. After their divorce, the church reportedly labeled Nicole a suppressive person, meaning she was considered a negative influence. From that point forward, the distance between Tom and Nicole grew wider and wider until they almost felt like strangers living in different worlds. Back in 2000, during the filming of Mission: Impossible 2 in Sydney, the pressure on Tom was extremely high. The movie demanded long nights, huge action sequences, and constant rewrites. Thandai Newton, who co-starred in the film, remembered one balcony scene as one of the most stressful moments of her career. The dialogue felt weak and wasn't working, so Tom tried to help by switching roles with her to rehearse the scene from the opposite perspective. Instead of helping, it made everything worse. She later said it increased her anxiety and made her feel even more insecure. A week later, the scene was filmed again and the production moved on, but the tension behind the scenes reflected the emotional chaos Tom was already dealing with in his private life. Then came the moment almost everyone remembers, the Oprah Winfrey Show appearance on May 23, 2005. Instead of calmly promoting War of the Worlds, Tom jumped on Oprah's couch, shouted about his love for Katie Holmes, and acted in a way that surprised everyone. Within minutes, the clip spread across the internet and became one of the earliest viral videos of the new digital age. The excitement didn't stop there. Soon after, he criticized actress Brooke Shields for using antidepressants during postpartum depression and then got into a heated argument about psychiatry with Matt Lauer on The Today Show. Overnight, Tom went from beloved superstar to a target of non-stop jokes and criticism. Years later, he said that everything he expressed during those interviews had been real, and that many intense things had been happening in his life at once, but the world around him saw only chaos. Tom Cruise's life began shaking long before most people realized it. In August 2006, the situation exploded when Viacom chairman Sumner Redstone publicly attacked him in the Wall Street Journal. He said something very blunt: someone who hurts the company and sinks revenue should not be on the lot. It was an extremely harsh statement, especially toward one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. The hit came after his Oprah couch moment, after the public meltdown about antidepressants, and after Tom pushed Scientology so heavily that Mission Impossible 3 made almost $100 million less than the previous film in the United States. Because of all this, the studio ended their 14-year partnership and blamed Tom's behavior for the drop in profits. At the same time, South Park aired its famous Scientology episode during the Closeted Gate scandal. The show mocked the church and Tom heavily. There were threats of boycotts everywhere, and fans even claimed they would skip Mission Impossible 3 unless the episode re-aired on Comedy Central, which it eventually did in July 2006. Despite everything, the film survived the controversy and earned nearly $400 million worldwide. It wasn't a complete disaster, but Sumner Redstone's criticism marked the first time a major Hollywood boss openly blamed a superstar's religious activism for financial harm instead of quietly distancing the studio. Before the chaos with Katie Holmes, something unusual had been happening behind the scenes. In late 2004, Scientology leaders allegedly began arranging what looked like an audition for Tom's next girlfriend. Iranian-born actress Nazanin Boniadi believed she was participating in a special training project for the church. Instead, she was subjected to weeks of daily auditing sessions in October 2004, where she had to reveal personal stories and information from her past. In November, she met Tom for what would become their first date. The Rockefeller Center ice rink was closed down just for them, creating a fairy tale atmosphere. But the relationship fell apart quickly. By January 2005, Tom ended things. Nazanin later spoke about the experience, and the church punished her by sending her to a Scientology center in Florida, where she was forced to scrub toilets with toothbrushes and dig ditches at night. Only 3 months after that breakup, Tom appeared publicly with Katie Holmes. Their whirlwind romance moved at lightning speed. In November 2006, they married in a lavish ceremony in Italy. When Katie filed for divorce in June 2012, Tom later admitted in court that she did it to protect their daughter Suri from Scientology. Between June and Thanksgiving of that year, Tom saw Suri only 10 days, showing how much the separation fractured their family. Despite all the personal chaos, Tom remained a massive star. War of the Worlds, directed by Steven Spielberg, opened on June 29, 2005 with an astonishing $81 million worldwide on its first day. During Independence Day weekend, it pulled in another $64.9 million. It became the fastest-growing film of Tom's career at the time. The movie hit $200 million domestically in just 24 days. Even though tabloids were filled with stories about Tom and Scientology, the film's box office kept growing. It eventually became the fourth highest-grossing movie of 2005. In the United States, it earned $234.3 million, and internationally it made $372.6 million. It showed that Tom's global fan base remained loyal despite his personal controversies. Ironically, people noticed that the film's story about alien attacks echoed Scientology's belief in Xenu, the alien ruler said to have destroyed billions of souls. War of the Worlds remained Tom's highest-grossing movie until Ghost Protocol passed it in 2011. Its strong box office run showed that even during the worst media storm of his life, audiences still wanted to see him on screen. Then another major controversy arrived when Tom played Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg in Valkyrie. In Germany, many officials and citizens pushed back. They said a Scientologist should not play a national hero who had tried to assassinate Hitler. Von Stauffenberg's own son publicly opposed the casting. In June 2007, the German Defense Ministry even blocked the filmmakers from shooting at the Bendler Block Memorial in Berlin, where Stauffenberg was executed. But within days, the decision was reversed, and officials claimed the original ban had applied to all productions, not just Valkyrie, even though they clearly had concerns about Scientology. Ironically, Germany's federal film fund quietly gave the production $6.5 million. During filming, Tom wore the same type of eye patch Stauffenberg used, and the loss of depth perception caused him problems with balance. In August 2007, World War II aircraft decorated with swastikas flew over German towns for the film, creating more controversy. Valkyrie opened in December 2008, earning $8.5 million on its first day and eventually taking in $200 million worldwide. Critics softened, and audiences appreciated Tom's dedication. In June 2010, Tom returned with Night and Day, reuniting with Cameron Diaz 9 years after they worked together in Vanilla Sky. It was one of his first major releases after his divorce from Katie Holmes had become global gossip. He pushed himself hard on the stunts, especially in the massive running of the bulls sequence. Originally, visual effects teams planned to add digital bulls later, but Tom insisted on using real bulls along with motorcycles to make the scene feel authentic. The chase sequence ran through Seville, Cadiz, and parts of Universal Studios, with small cars crashing and racing through narrow streets. But despite all the effort, the film's opening day was the weakest he had seen since Far and Away in 1992. Even Valkyrie, which opened with $8.5 million, had done better. His personal drama was beginning to affect his box office numbers in the United States. Still, Night and Day earned $262 million worldwide. Audiences enjoyed the action, even though reviews were mixed, and the film's success later inspired the Bollywood remake Bang Bang. To understand why all these controversies kept following him, it's important to look at where his Scientology journey started. Tom joined the church in 1986 after actress Mimi Rogers introduced him to its teachings. 7 years later, in 1993, he reached the level known as OT3, where members learn the secret story of Xenu. According to Scientology, Xenu killed billions of souls 75 million years ago with hydrogen bombs dropped into volcanoes. These souls, called thetans, supposedly attach themselves to humans and create emotional and physical problems. Tom reportedly almost quit the church when he reached this level because of the extreme beliefs, but he stayed and kept going. By 2005, he had reportedly reached OT7, a level where members believe they can control their inner universe and remove thousands of these spiritual attachments through intense auditing sessions. This growing belief system continued shaping the direction of Tom's life in ways few outside the church could fully understand. The church's influence over Tom Cruise became even stronger during his marriage to Nicole Kidman. Auditing sessions with David Miscavige used e-meters to measure reactions and push Cruise to make personal admissions. Former high-ranking member Mike Rinder later said the church even wiretapped Kidman's phone because they believed she was pulling Cruise away from Scientology. Whenever they felt Cruise was drifting, they set up special auditing sessions to bring him back under control. The 2015 documentary Going Clear revealed that the church worked quietly to distance Cruise from Kidman by turning their adopted children against her. It wasn't just about protecting their biggest celebrity member. It was about maintaining power. In January 2008, something leaked online that the church never wanted the public to see. It was a 9-minute video from 2004 showing Cruise receiving the Freedom Medal of Valor from Miscavige. The Mission Impossible theme played while Cruise spoke passionately about fighting suppression and helping SPs. He claimed Scientologists were the only true authorities on the human mind. He praised auditing, talked about defeating negativity, and even said Scientology cured his dyslexia, explaining that he could barely read before joining the church in 1986. The church tried hard to remove the video from the internet, but it spread everywhere within hours. Not long after, even darker stories began to surface. Former Inspector General Marty Rathbone revealed that Sea Org workers, who earned around $50 a week, were used to work on Cruise's personal properties. John Brousseau said he customized a luxury motor home for Cruise, installed advanced sound systems, and supervised teams that renovated his Beverly Hills mansion in 2002. These workers even handled tiny tasks like fixing gutters and changing light bulbs. Brousseau eventually realized the work was mostly unnecessary, but it was done to show devotion to Miscavige's favorite celebrity. While Cruise enjoyed massive homes and comfort, these workers lived like unpaid laborers. Nazan Boniati's story added another layer of controversy. In October 2004, she was told she had been selected for a secret mission. She was ordered to remove her braces, dye her hair, and break up with her boyfriend. She signed a strict contract and then learned that the mission was to become Tom Cruise's partner. She dated him for about 3 months, but things changed quickly after she made a small comment that reportedly upset Miscavige. Cruise became distant, and when she confided in a friend, she was punished with harsh physical labor, including scrubbing toilets with toothbrushes and cleaning tiles with acid. In 2010, she gave testimony to the FBI and later became a human rights activist. People also began noticing strange patterns in Cruise's marriages. He married Mimi Rogers in 1987 and divorced her in 1990 when she turned 33. He married Nicole Kidman in 1990 and filed for divorce in 2001 just before she turned 34. He married Katie Holmes in 2006, and their marriage ended in 2012 when she turned 33. Each wife was exactly 11 years younger than the last. Some people link the pattern to Scientology ideas claiming a person's spiritual state changes around age 33. Nothing was ever proven, but the pattern fueled even more public speculation. In 2013, Cruise admitted during a deposition that Holmes left him to protect their daughter Suri from Scientology. Years later, another emotional moment made headlines. In December 2020, while filming Mission: Impossible 7 during the COVID-19 pandemic, a crew member broke safety rules and Cruise lost his temper. Someone recorded the outburst. He shouted that if it happened again, people would be fired, and he insisted he would not let the film shut down. Production had already suffered delays because of outbreaks, and Cruise said thousands of jobs depended on strict compliance. In May 2021, he said in an interview that he stood by his words. It showed how much pressure and fear had built up inside him after years of carrying huge responsibilities. His relationship with Suri became even more painful. She was born on April 18, 2006, and after Holmes filed for divorce in June 2012, Cruise's contact with her nearly disappeared. During his 2013 deposition, he admitted that he saw her only 10 days between June and Thanksgiving of that year. Court documents showed that when he was asked whether Holmes filed for divorce to keep Suri away from Scientology, he acknowledged that was one of the reasons people believed. Holmes left Scientology immediately after ending the marriage, and reports said Cruise sometimes went more than a month without seeing his daughter while traveling. Today, Suri reportedly has no relationship with her father and lives in New York with her mother. Despite Cruise's statements that he never abandoned her emotionally or financially, the distance remained. All of this unfolded while Cruise worked on building his dream estate in Telluride, Colorado. He spent more than 30 years designing it. The ranch was completed in 1994 and covered 320 acres, about the size of 242 football fields. The main house was nearly 10,000 square feet, and a separate 3-bedroom guest house brought the total space to more than 11,500 square feet, with 7 bedrooms and 9 bathrooms. A private mile-long road led to a secure gated entrance. This home became famous. It was where he filmed his 2008 Oprah interview and posed for the iconic 2006 Vanity Fair photos with baby Suri. Cruise tried to sell the estate for $59 million in 2014 but later changed his mind. In March 2021, he listed it again for $39.5 million, and it sold within a week. Then, in 2007, a strange rumor exploded across the tabloids. Star magazine claimed Cruise was building a $10 million underground bunker on the Telluride property. They described it as a sealed safe house built for 10 people, equipped with advanced air systems designed to filter out alien contamination. According to the report, the bunker was connected to Scientology's story about Xenu and the belief that alien spirits still influenced Earth. Cruise's spokesperson denied the claims immediately and said no such construction existed. Still, the rumor spread quickly because people already believed Cruise was deeply involved in Scientology's highest levels. The bunker rumor grew stronger when people connected it with the church's secret teachings. By 2005, Cruise was believed to have reached the OT7 level, one of the most advanced and costly stages in Scientology. At that level, members learn the full story of Xenu, an alien ruler who, according to church teachings, destroyed billions of souls 75 million years ago using hydrogen bombs inside volcanoes. These lost souls, called thetans, are said to attach themselves to humans and cause emotional and physical struggles. Many people felt this belief explained Cruise's fierce criticism of psychiatry and medications during his movie promotions. The bunker rumor appeared at the same moment he was speaking loudly and passionately about Scientology, and even though officials denied everything, the timing made it hard for many to ignore.